James, let me know when you want me to give the instructions.
Uh, how many do we have now? Do we have a good amount?
We have around 10 people.
Maybe we'll give
More
it a
people are
couple
coming
more
in.
minutes.
Yeah, sure.
Thank you.
Rose, why don't you just go ahead and give everybody the basics of how we run our Zoom meetings while we wait, though.
Okay.
All right, sure. Welcome, everyone. If this is your first time joining us virtually, you will notice that you are currently muted, and everyone will remain muted throughout the meeting except the committee chair and any presenters as we move through the agenda. Following the presentations, the chair will call on members of the public wishing to speak. You can participate by going to reactions icon on your device and pressing the raise hand button, not the wave or thumbs up, as those will disappear. Only press it once. If you press it a second time, your hand will go back down. If you're calling in on the phone, it is *+9 to raise hand and *+6 to unmute. Be on the lookout for a prompt asking you to confirm unmuting once chair calls on you. The chat is available for technical support only, to help with Zoom software problems, not to ask questions to the chair. They will not see the chats. If you are using an older version of Zoom, you will need to go to participant sections where you will find the raise hand feature there. Please do not raise your actual hand or wave at the screen because we might not be able to see you. You can chat me. I'm here for support.
Rose,
Mm-hmm.
when we do community updates, who am I introducing for that? How am I starting that?
For community updates.
The ones from RIOC?
No, the third point, third agenda item was. Oh, I lost it. Hang on.
I think that's just sort of an unstructured thing. So if you have any updates that you need to give, or any of the committee members want to give, or if Bryant wants to give any updates,
Okay.
I think that'll be good.
Okay, bear with me one second. I seem to have lost my camera. Where did I go? Do you still hear me, right? There we go. Okay. Thank you. Okay, everybody, you're probably noticing that Paul is not with us tonight. He's traveling, went to London for the week. So he asked me to step in and run the meeting. First time for me. So hopefully everybody will be patient and stand by as I get myself through the introduction portion. I guess we'll jump right in and start doing the REAC updates with Bryant Daniels. Thank you very much.
Hey, Jimmy, how are you? Good evening, everyone. Can you hear me okay?
Yep.
Great. Happy to be here. Bryant Daniels, Communications Director with REAC. Pleasure to see everybody tonight. I don't know who allowed Paul to go on vacation. We're going to have to talk about that. That really shouldn't be allowed again in the future. Thanks, everybody, for hopping on the call tonight. A couple things I just want to update everyone on. I'm going to start actually with the community affairs stuff. We actually have kind of a busy week on the community affairs front, so I just wanted to make everybody aware of a couple of events we're having. First one is this coming Wednesday. Every year, REAC does a 9/11 remembrance ceremony to honor the memory of those lost during the tragic events of September 11th, 2001. This year will be no different. We'll be hosting our ceremony promptly at 8:30 a.m. on Wednesday. It's a really nice event. PSD has a lot to do with it, a huge presence there. Our PSD leadership was actually on the ground during 9/11, Chief Brown and Deputy Chief Amoroso. So it's a very important event to them too. And just it's impactful for the community as well. We had folks from Roosevelt Island who were lost on that day. So it's just a nice event where we can sort of come together as a community and remember their lives. And so I just wanted to mention that this Wednesday, 8:30 a.m. And then this coming Saturday, we also have our annual Fall for Arts Festival, which is sort of a really special thing. Roosevelt Island is often referred to as an island of art. And the embrace of art is sort of a differentiator, I think, with this community from so many others in the city. So the Fall for Arts Festival, we put out a call for artists every year to come back to us with their ideas on 2 themes, and REOC partners with Riva to host this event every year. And the artists come back, they give us their interpretations of the themes, and then they come to the island and they make it happen. They bring it to life through these beautiful murals that are painted on meditation lawn. So you'll start to see the setup for that happening this week. And this year, what we're doing, in addition to the wonderful painting that'll be done, we also added a jazz component to it as well. Jazz music is another beautiful form of art that we see a lot on the island. And so working with Brandon's on right now from the Roosevelt Island Library, we're hosting 2 different jazz sessions in the library plaza on Saturday as well. So it's looking like it's going to be a really nice day. The weather's looking good. Let's hope that stays the case. So hopefully we'll be able to see everybody on Saturday, come out, enjoy some art, have something to eat, and come together again with the community. On that note, I guess I'd like to turn it over to, the main thing, which has been on everybody's minds lately, which is the red buses. And just sort of give you an update on where that is, where we are as a corporation. It's been a tough August. Nobody's denying that or saying anything to the contrary. We're in better shape today than we were a few weeks ago. There's been a lot of behind the scenes maneuvering within REOC to try to get us into a better position. And look, we've been very upfront about this. This was a problem that is many years in the making. It just took a long time. Eventually, the bill comes due, and it did recently with the red bus fleet. Unfortunately, we don't have enough buses, and that sort of leads into a cascading array of problems with, doing enough preventative maintenance, making sure you're still getting service out on the roads. But in the last couple of weeks, and I want to point out a special thank you to our government officials, particularly State Senator Liz Kruger, who reached out to MTA Chair Jano Lieber on our behalf, who then got the New York City Transit guys involved, and they have been a tremendous asset to us in getting our fleet back up and running the last few weeks. So right now we are back up to a healthy 4 red buses on the island, and we've also added a new bird bus, shorter bus, 14-seater with room for 2 wheelchairs. That's also going to be around the island these days. What we're trying to do is, look, I mean, we got to be thoughtful about this, right? So if we had a fleet of 8 buses, we could go back to full service and not think twice, but we're just not there yet. So what we're doing right now is on rush hour schedules, we are trying to make sure that we have, we are making sure that we have at least 3 buses on the road during morning and evening rush hour. It could be a combination of 2 red buses and the bird bus. It could be 3 red buses. There have been times where, situation permitting, we're able to get 3 red buses and the bird bus onto the road, which is great. But we wanted to make sure that start of the school year this past Thursday, we were better positioned to handle service than we had been leading up to it. And so right now, that's what we're doing. We are getting multiple buses on the road during rush hour. We're trying to keep multiple buses on the road during the normal hours as well. It's still fluid. We're still adjusting it as we go, but we need to keep people moving. And we know that this is a foundational piece of the puzzle for REOC is providing the service to the community. And it's not lost on anybody internally. I think I've said over the last couple of weeks, we are all part of the transportation department right now. We are all working on it in some form or fashion. So it's getting better. We're also trying to add personnel to the department because we have a lot of departments in REOC that, quite frankly, are understaffed. And so we are trying to build that out as well on the transportation end. We're making some good headway there too. So things are trending in the right direction. We have to, continue to be thoughtful about it. We're, spending a disproportionate amount of time thinking about buses because we have to right now. And but things are trending upward, and so we're happy with that. The transit app is something that's still a work in progress as well. I know we're going to talk about that a little later too. It's still in beta testing. We're working out kinks and bugs. Quite frankly, we announced it a little sooner than we wanted to because, we were down to 1 bus and we wanted to give an extra tool to the community to track the buses. So we're still working out some things with that. The bird bus, you know, because it's brand new, wasn't part of the planning for the tracking. It doesn't have the tracking on board. We're looking into adding that. One of the buses we were able to get back on the road, bus 6, was actually scheduled for decommissioning. So that also does not have the tracking part of it either. So bear with us on that. You know, we're still working on it. It's also trending in the right direction, but you know, with a lot of the other things going on, we haven't been able to necessarily nail down the service end of that yet. But it's getting there. So we're you know, we're cautiously optimistic about where we're heading right now with the red buses. And then one other thing I wanted to point out, it's been top of mind for a while, and this was brought up at our last community working group on the roadways project. The amount of, let's call them scooters, e-bikes that have been on the island and sort of been a little bit of a menace, I guess, to pedestrians and motorists alike. This has been a priority for PSD. They started an initiative last month to crack down on a lot of it. To my knowledge, last I checked, and this is a bit dated, we've already confiscated something to the degree of 13 scooters from people that were driving recklessly around the island. And so we know that that is something that has also been top of mind to the community, and it's something that we're continuing to focus on as we head into the fall months. I have gone on a little while. I'm sure there are some questions. So Jimmy, I'll turn it back over to you, and happy to answer anything.
Great, thank you very much. Since I am unmuted, I'm going to add something. Just a question. Is there a way that we could possibly get more speed bumps on Main Street between Motorgate and let's say the roundabout, particularly the narrowest part of Main Street?
Yeah. So, and we've actually, I think, touched base about this.
Yeah.
So part of the problem is the Z-bricks. We can't affix speed humps to the Z-bricks. It's an uneven roadway. It won't stick. It's just not possible according to our maintenance guys. So that is one impediment to doing that right now. Of course, when we do the roadways project in the future, you know, we'll think about raised pathways for crossing the streets, which can kind of act as sort of speed humps. You know, if we do any type of road work on crosswalks before then, you know, it's something that maybe we can think about. But that's kind of speculating on it. What we have done, though, is we've added a lot of the light up stop signs around the island. That has been popular, and I think it's been effective so far from what I've seen, which is good. So we are thinking about all of those things. You know, if there are other spots where there are no Z-bricks that we can try to look into for speed humps, we're happy to do that. I mean, we have the one near PS 217. I mean, those are the big ones that we put in every year. But we can think about it, just full well knowing that the areas with the Z-bricks, unfortunately, are off limits.
Right. Okay, great. Thank you. First question I believe I've got is Judy Birdie.
Good afternoon. It's nice to be back. Can we put signs up by the city bike station? I think it's the one especially by the tram. These people are completely reckless. They're bicycling north on the West Road. They're bicycling on the sidewalk. And it's just like, well, I have a city bike and now it's a motorized city bike. I can go anywhere on the sidewalks everywhere. And it's really, really treacherous. Is there some kind of warning sign you can put up there? Because they're going to kill someone, you know, especially motorized city bikes. It's treacherous, and it's disgraceful that people seem to be getting on the city bikes and not observing any of the rules of the road. So what can be done about this, Brian?
I will bring it up to PSD. I will look into signage in the area. We do have, I think, a pretty fair amount of signage around in different spots, but maybe having it near there would be effective. We can certainly try to figure that out.
Terrific. Okay, on to Rick.
Hi, Brian.
Hey, Rick.
Hey, just want to confirm, did you say that there are 4 buses now on the road plus the shuttle?
We have 4 buses on the island, 4 operational buses. Now, this is what I was going back to with we have to be thoughtful with how we're using these things. It's not prudent to put all 4 on the road at the same time, just given, the maintenance issues. So we're trying to be thoughtful about how we're using them, making sure that they're rested, making sure that they're going through the proper level of preventative maintenance. But on the island, we do have 4 working buses that we are shifting through right now. The focus is still on rush hour, mornings and evenings. In almost all circumstances at this point, there are at least some combination of 3 buses on the road during rush hour. And we're still kind of working the ins and outs of that and seeing what works best there. There have been a couple of instances where we'll do 3 red buses and the bird bus if we feel comfortable with that. But in terms of putting all 4 red buses on the road at the same time, I don't think that that's probably a wise move, given where we are right now. But yes, on the island, there are currently 4 working red buses and the bird bus.
And are they working on a schedule, or is it just continuous?
Yeah, no. That's exactly it. So we're trying to cycle them through. We're trying to, put 2 on the road at one time, 2 on the road in the afternoon, make sure that we're letting them cool down, make sure that we're doing everything we need to do to be a little more thorough in the preventative maintenance end of it. Part of the problem was we don't have enough buses, and therefore the buses we do have, we run constantly. And because you're running them constantly and you want to make service, you aren't necessarily able to rest them and care for them like you would want to. And it becomes this sort of death cycle that we've been stuck in for a little while. Get the buses back out on the road. That was kind of the edict for a long time. And then you end up running them until things sort of collapse. So yeah, moving forward, we're being a lot more careful about how we're using them. We understand it's a delicate balance. There is an expectation on service on the island, and we have to meet that expectation. But for right now, we are trying to make sure that we are putting the right buses on the road at the right time and allowing the right buses that need to be rested and worked on to be able to do so.
Right. But when they are on the road, are they
Mhm.
operating on a schedule, like they're leaving the Octagon at a certain time?
Oh, yes. Okay. So yes, they leave at the Octagon at the top of every hour. We're still doing 15-minute headways between stops. The way it's working with the bird bus is the bird bus is going out between the 2 red buses. So the top of the Octagon, let's say 8 a.m. First red bus leaves 8 a.m., runs the local route. Bird bus will go out approximately 5 to 6 minutes after that, pick up some of the stragglers that maybe didn't make the first bus. Then the second red bus will go out after that. And then we're saying it's a 15-minute headway between stops. If there are 3 buses on the road, it'll probably be a little shorter than that. But for right now, with 2 buses, you can maintain 15-minute headways on Main Street. That's what we're going for. We want to make sure that we hit that number. And if we can do better than that, then that's good. That's moving in the right direction.
And is the tram the final destination and then it turns around?
We have not elongated the loop back yet to include South Point Park. We're still turning not after the tram, but after Sports Park. So it'll go down to Sports Park. It'll make that right onto North Loop Road. And then it'll come back up to the tram rather than going all the way down to South Point, turning there and coming up. We're keeping the shortened route for now. We are keeping the 1 a.m. end time for now. We have not making a decision on when to bring back the shopper's bus yet. Those are things that we still need to think about. And I think when we get on a little steadier footing, we can broach those subjects.
And do you have any schedule as to when the 2 new buses will be delivered?
No update. Last we heard was, best case scenario is probably December, but early 2025 is a possibility as well. So I don't have any updates there.
And you have enough drivers for all the buses now?
We do have enough drivers. Yes.
Maintenance people?
Maintenance, well, we were talking about adding personnel, and one of the things we did is we just hired a new mechanic to help there. The transportation department has had vacancies for a while, and we're working on filling those vacancies right now, heading and trending in the right direction, bringing some new people on that hopefully will be able to help us on the maintenance end and also on the execution of the actual scheduling timing. So we're making the right moves. It's taking a little bit of time as things often do.
All right, thank you.
Yep.
Thank you very much. Amy,
Hi. I had a couple of questions. I'll start with one that builds on Judy's question. I guess it's more of a comment that I also noticed and wanted to share. I was thinking at the transportation meeting, but probably here is good too. It's very unclear for bikers what we're supposed to do when we ride along the water and then you hit the ferry and it's like that area is super congested. And what do you should say, walk your bike or indicate what the path for city bikers also leaving the docking station is? Like, do you expect them to go around and turn on to North Loop like you just mentioned the red bus is doing?
Mhm.
Or is it acceptable for them to cycle up and continue down Main Street, which is technically the wrong way for a few feet?
Okay, when you say going back to the ferry point, you're saying when you get down to right where the ferry is, that's the congested area?
That is a congested area as far as foot traffic. And, I'm a cyclist myself and I try as hard as I possibly can to comply with these directions and laws, but I find there's no, I get out, I dismount, I walk the bike, but no one would know to do that there.
Mm-hmm.
And you're also sharing that path with people coming on and off the ferry, and people, walking their dog down that sidewalk. And I think it's, not good sense for people to ride on the sidewalk, but I can see where they're getting confused there because especially if they're visitors, they have no idea what's down that way. And maybe they don't know, where to go.
Okay, we can take a look at it. Maybe Amy, if you're free one day, we can just walk that area.
Happy. I can make a little video or we can just walk it.
That would be helpful.
Yeah, I can tell you exactly what I'm talking about.
Yeah, that would be great.
This is also somewhat related. What constitutes an e-bike? Because technically under New York City law, those class 1 e-bikes are the same as any normal bicycle. I know this because I ride one of those. However, those can reach pretty high speeds. I don't think it's legal though to ban them. So whenever you come in off the bridge and it says no e-bikes, I've been confused when I'm on a city bike, like, okay, is it kosher for me to ride down the promenade? Are they targeting the delivery e-bikes, which are different because they have a throttle, or, just some sort of, I don't know how or if that is something that's going to be able to be disseminated effectively in a sign.
On the light up sign, I don't know either because it's.
I mean that I don't think. No, I mean also at Motorgate. Sorry, I'm not clarifying, but like my path down from Motorgate, say to the tram, which is I think one that a lot of residents would do. For example, like when I take my car back from Motorgate, when I get groceries at Food Town, I often try to choose the right path, and it's kind of difficult because you're coming from Motorgate down the promenade and then you either go up past the children's playground or on this really narrow like river walk path, which both of those it's like, do I walk my bike? It says yield to pedestrians. Again, this probably is better addressed at the roadways meeting. I don't want to take up all the time of this meeting, but it's something I'm passionate about.
No, it's a good question, and I have a rad runner myself, and it has a throttle, so it's a different ball game.
But you get it.
Yeah, no, I understand. I mean, pedal assist, that's what the city bikes are. So
exactly.
we're not looking to
Okay.
ban that. The
Yeah.
focus really is on like you said, on the delivery workers
Okay.
and scooter drivers who are kind of
Uh-huh. Yeah.
doing whatever they want. And and I get it. They're
Yeah.
I think, as Rick brought up at another meeting, we're not looking to keep people from getting their food deliveries, but
Yeah. Yeah.
they do have to obey the stop signs,
Mhm.
and make sure that they're not driving
Yeah.
recklessly. So I can tell you, I think pretty safely, I would say from a PSD point of view, that's the focus more so than.
Gotcha. Okay. Yeah, I've never been stopped, but I have been uneasy because I'm like, I don't want to be doing the wrong thing. But on the other hand, my children are tapping their foot like, where's mom with
Yeah.
the
No, I get it.
mozzarella.
I get it. And I
Sometimes
appreciate it.
it feels unsafe sometimes with all that's going on Main Street to be a cyclist. Like I'm pretty comfortable with it because I'm a daily driver multiple times a day. But, I can see why someone would prefer the promenade given the condition of the road, the red bus, the delivery truck, double parking, etc. I will now move on to my next question, which is the flashing.
Amy,
Yeah.
I'm sorry, if you don't mind, if I could just jump in for a second.
Yeah,
I
go
just
for
wanted
it.
to thank you so much, not only for asking those questions, but also really demonstrating and caring about cycling etiquette and cycling
Mhm.
behavior. You're a breath of fresh air. And I think it's very important that when we do have these types of questions, and I have two bikes myself, I do think that when we hear these types of questions that we should follow up on them. And I appreciate RIAC's offer to meet with you to take a look at
Mhm.
what's going on, and also your offer to do a video. And you know what? I would like to tag along, by the way, not to be in the video. But I would like to tag along and also see what you see, because sometimes even as cyclists we notice different things, and I'm hoping to be helpful as well.
Thanks, Sharon. We're happy to have you tag along too. We'll work out with Amy a time. This week's a little busy for me, but we'll be able to come up with something and then take a look at it. Signage is a problem around the island. We know that. It's part of the roadways project. We have a lot of signs all over the place. Some of them are contradictory. Some of them are not clear. So it's something that we know we have to fix as part of this greater project. But if there's something we can do in the meantime that's effective, we're always happy to look at it.
Great. Did you have another question, Amy?
Only one more. Sorry for the interruption. Not within my control always. The flashing stop signs, I noticed them. I think they're good, but I did wonder, how is it decided which one is flashing, which one's not? Because I definitely agree with the school one. I, as a resident of 405, was less certain of the purpose of choosing at this point the one directly behind 405 building.
Well, I think what we're trying to do is, quite frankly, as many as we can.
Yeah. Okay.
Just to, in terms of where we're locating them, it's an interesting question. It's a good question. Part of it has to do with the fact that they're solar powered. So we started with sunny spots. We wanted to see how well they would work. And I think they've worked quite well, and they look, even in daylight hours, I've been impressed with the illumination of them. So we're still looking to add more, but right along Main Street, where the buildings are sort of lining up and sunlight isn't always beating down there, that's kind of why we haven't moved there quite yet, but we are looking into adding more.
Gotcha. That's helpful to know. Thanks. And I know the solar power is another thing that powers the speed checker sign down on the promenade, and it doesn't often get enough sun to function.
It's tough.
Yeah, I mean, you can't do everything. You have a red bus crisis to manage, but bookmarking that. Very, very last thing is wanted to mention, I've never had success uploading an image to the TIKKIT system.
Okay.
I escalated that to technical support while you were out of the office.
Okay.
Someone else escalated that. So just wanted to say, I think that would be cool to have the ability to do that. I think it aids communication and clarity significantly.
Well, you should have that ability. I'm not sure what the problem is, so we gotta.
Okay.
We'll
Anyway,
try to figure it
I'm
out.
not sure if it's just me either. So
I've never had a problem uploading a photo. I don't think
okay.
Judy's ever had a problem uploading a photo.
Weird.
So,
Okay. I guess maybe I'm on the red flag list or something.
yeah, I don't think that's it. Let's
I'm
let
kidding.
our
I'm
IT
kidding.
people look at
Yeah,
it.
I'll
Okay.
look into that because I tried on Mac as well as Android. I gave them the full technical details on it.
Okay.
So I'll just follow up with them. But yeah. Anyway, I'm truly done now. Thanks, everyone.
Thank you.
All right, great. Judy?
Okay, one thing I was really happy to see last week was vintage bus number 6. Number 6 has parallel seating. And it accommodates many more people than buses number 10 and 11 with the damn perpendicular seating. You can drive a baby carriage down the middle of the aisle. And I think that one should be saved for rush hours because that bus is a pleasure to get on. You go on, there's parallel seating, everyone can get on fast. Whoever gave us the bargain perpendicular seating was out to get us. So, please save number 6 for rush hour because I know she's vintage. I don't know how old she is, but it was really good to see her with her faded orange seats. Secondly, Amy is right. The most dangerous thing is when someone gets a city bike and goes east by the subway, by the ferry station, and goes down that hill on the very bad pavement and falls flat on their face as they're trying to navigate that 90-degree curve on a curve going down the East Road. It is treacherous. I've seen a woman just fall flat on her face because she did not realize that it's a sharp angle, a sharp curve, and just plain dangerous on a poorly paved street. So that is a place that you have to have some kind of stop sign there because people are just going to hurt themselves and probably sue RIAC. So, but
Probably.
just please keep number 6. I don't know how old number 6 bus is. Do you have any idea?
How old it is? I believe it's a 2007, 2008, something. Now, full disclosure, Judy, bus number 6 is still not long for this world. We were able to get it back in the road right now.
Doesn't matter. We're going to keep her going. It's like, think of us as Cuba of buses, okay?
Good way to look at
Take
it.
care.
Thanks, Judy.
Thank you very much. I guess with no further questions, we can move on to the library updates with Brandon. Brandon Kurosh. Welcome.
Go. Can everyone hear me all right?
Yes.
Yep.
Good. Good evening, everybody. I'd like to start off just by thanking, well, Paul's not here, but I'd like to thank him and the board for giving me my own little slot on the agenda. You'll all be seeing me every month now, and I'll try to give a little bit of updates on what's going on at the branch. So for those of you that don't know me, my name is Brandon Korosh. I'm the managing librarian of the New York Public Library branch on the island. And I just wanted to talk about a couple updates that we have for the month. As Bryant mentioned, we are going to be partnering for Fall for the Arts. We're going to have 2 jazz shows in our little courtyard, one at 11:30 to 2, and the other from 2:30 to 4. It's going to feature, for those who probably already know Sushil, he always brings a nice rotating group of some very talented artists. Now he's going to have the James Austin Quartet, as long as Ben Rubens and Mark Hines. If anyone's jazz fans, you might know them. Other than that, we have a good amount of stuff going on this month, actually. We also have Judy Birdie's going to be leading Roosevelt Island at 50 to the Historical Society in our space, September 17th at 6:30, which we're very excited about. And then one thing that we do annually is something called Library Open House Week. It's kind of geared towards pulling people into the library that don't normally use the space. And so we rely a lot on word of mouth to get the word out. But essentially what we do is we pick one day out of the week. This year it's from the 11th, the week of the 11th. Ours is going to be the main day, September 18th. So we're going to have 2 toddler story times like we normally do. One at 10:15, the other one at 11:15. And then in the afternoon, after the kids let out from school, we're going to have a little celebration in our courtyard. So we're thinking we're going to put out our yard games. We have cornhole, Connect Four. We'll probably play some music, put some snacks out, leave some chalk out for the kids. And it should be a good time. For the teens, we're going to have a little button making station also around the same time. And then for our classic fans out there, one of our adult librarians has been doing a 5-part series on the Alexandrias. And later that night, there's going to be the 3rd part of it. And if anyone's interested, they could shoot me an email or come pop by the branch and we'll get them on the guest list. We have a few other things going on, but another new program that I wanted to highlight is on September 23rd, we're going to have a class on exploring some of NYPL's databases. So I think I said already, but that's going to be September 23rd at 6 p.m. And we're excited for that series and hoping we'll see some new faces. I think that's more or less all I got. I do have a link. I'm not sure if it'll let me put it in the chat, but you could always check out our events for the month by visiting this link or just typing into Google nypl.org Roosevelt Island events, and you could toggle by age group and you'll see everything that we have going on for the month.
That's terrific. Thank you. I know my daughter has been over at the library over the course of the last year with friends. I know, particularly in the winter, it becomes a place where everybody sort of probably inundates you over there in the winter months because there's activities, they can read, they can hang out. And I have to say, when my kids were, my other two, my teens, when they were smaller, we really took advantage of the programs that the library has to offer, and it's great to have it. So thank you.
Oh, for sure. Yeah, every season's different. This summer was also, we were very much inundated. We all breathed a
That's good
sigh
to
of
hear.
relief with school starting back up, but no, we're
Oh, that's
definitely here
what
for
I
the
wanna hear.
community.
That's great. Does anybody have any questions? Okay, thank you so much, Brandon.
Thank you.
I guess we're going to move on to item number 3, community updates. I'm sort of at a loss on this one, being this is my first meeting hosting. So does anybody have any updates within the community that they want to add? Because I don't have anything that's been provided. And to my knowledge, I don't have anything to announce. Brandon?
Yeah, I actually have one more program I'd like to highlight. Cornell Tech will be using our space September 28th for a community conversation about this upcoming election cycle. It's going to be in the community room. It's first come, first served. One thing I want to highlight is for those of you who haven't seen our community room, it's not that big. The maximum capacity is about 35 people, but it should be a good talk. It's going to be at 3 p.m. September 28th.
Terrific. Thank you. Judy?
Okay, the FDR Four Freedoms Park this weekend is having a flower show. A greenhouse is being built with done by an artist that's going to have 100,000 flowers, and it's I just got the email today, so it's this Saturday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday at the FDR Four Freedoms Park. And when I find it, I'll put the name of the event on the chat, but it's going to be free and open to the public. And this artist has made 100,000 flowers celebrating Franklin and Eleanor Roosevelt, from what I understand. So that's something this weekend. Of course,
Do you know what time that starts?
I don't, well, it's when the park is open. This
Okay.
is the weekend, that's gonna be too many things too soon and all together. But
Yeah.
it should be wonderful, and it's, I'll find it and I'll put it in the chat, okay?
Sounds great. Thank you. Anyone else have anything to contribute to the community updates? All right, we will move on to item agenda number 4, the Citizen Project. We have, I want to make sure I say this right, Kaushal?
Yeah, that's right.
All
Hi,
right,
everyone.
great.
Can
Kaushal
you hear
Shah
me?
with us? Yep, we can hear you. Go right ahead.
Perfect. All right. Well, I do want to give a quick shout out before I begin because I want to give kudos to Brandon. I mean, we love the new library. My kids are getting books all the time now. It's a really engaging place to be. It's really amazing. So really love it. And I really think that yard is really underutilized. It's so beautiful. So it's nice to see kind of like jazz concerts there. Um, so just for those of you who don't know me, I'm the founder of the Citizen Project. We're a nonprofit on the island, and our goal is to figure out how we can leverage technology to improve the community. And so for the last 4 months, I've come here before to give an update on what we're building in terms of a technology platform for residents and visitors. And so for the last 4 months, we've been sort of designing and building out the platform. And I want to give you an update right now. It's still rough around the edges. We're about a week away from friends and family, so we're just still cleaning things up. And anybody who's interested here who wants to get part of that first alpha phase, just let James know or Paul, and we can add you to the group so you can test it out. And then part of that alpha is going to be basically what your thoughts are on using the application and giving feedback as well for us to improve the platform in the future. So with that said, I'm just going to spend a few minutes on the app. James, can I share my screen?
Yep.
Perfect. All right. So this is on my desktop, but it's emulating what it would look like on a phone. So the first sort of persona that we're testing out, which is going to be for residents and visitors, but it's mainly going to be for visitors. And the reason for that is because we want to really validate our kind of design thinking in terms of making sure that's very intuitive in terms of how you explore the island and take advantage of it. So obviously the front and center is the island. One of the things that we've done for the last month and a half is work to really digitize Roosevelt Island. So you see here, it has a lot of textures, 3-dimensional. So if you have a desktop, it does get into 3-dimensional view, but for the mobile, it's sort of like a vertical 2-dimensional. And so we started putting the textures in here. And again, this is very accurate to the island. Obviously, there's still some stuff that we need to add. And so you'll see it's kind of spans the entire island. You have the church there. And then at the end, you have sort of the Four Freedoms Park. And when I say digitize, what does that mean? It means that we now control every asset on the island. So if we wanted to, for example, let's say alert someone on a specific building or an area, we can now programmatically light things up on this island. So we have full control of controlling the island in various ways. So that's one of the things. One of the other things that you'll see here, we sort of muted the colors. So we had it's either green or concrete. And the reason for that, and you'll see, is that we want to overlay this with a lot of information in the future. So in terms of events, points of interest, highlights of the island, and other aspects. And so we wanted to make sure that we don't have sort of color information overload. And so we muted the color base for the time being until we can kind of figure out whether the information that's going to be displayed is very intuitive. One thing you'll also notice is something we're working on is the roads. Well, why would we want to highlight the roads? Well, this is where we're going to programmatically put the red buses using the GPS trackers on these paths. So as a resident or visitor, you can come here and see exactly where the red buses are headed. Not only that, you'll be able to click on the Q102 or the red bus with the finger, and it will display all the times on its route, real time. So with that said, this is the island, and you can come here, you can search, you can do highlight highlights, which we can curate the experience in terms of what the island highlights are, things to do, and then walking paths. And so the highlights, if you click that, you'll see on the map, you'll see the highlights kind of pointed out, but you also have a carousel view that you can kind of go directly to the point of interest. So you'll see here, or the Graduate Hotel. And so when you click on any one of these, it will take you to sort of a details page. Now, this is something that we've taken really from the web. In the next few weeks, we're going to be holding a session for all the organizations on the island to make sure that their information is up to date. And ultimately, what we want to do is allow the residents, not residents, or organizations, a way, a portal in to then really maintain this content, but also to then communicate out in terms of alerts and events and so on in the future. So you have highlights, you have things to do. So that's many things here. And you can also search as well. So, right. And it's very instantaneous in terms of search. And then the last one, I think this is the most interesting one. I think it's we have a very basic version, and it's not really working right now, but we can do so much with this in terms of curing the experience for visitors and residents in terms of navigating the island. It's called walking paths, and you'll see here we have different types of walking paths that we've named, historical, art, and then as you'll see, we're kind of outlining where the path is along with the highlights on the island. And one of the things that you don't see here is we're also going to have a GPS icon of where the user is in relation to the walking path. So they can go and kind of walk on the path and as kind of navigate all these highlights along the way. So the other aspect is something that we're working on is getting here. So this is just what are the ways to get around. So some of the things we're going to add here is like while you're on the island, what is the emergency contact of public safety, things like that. This is really the main function. And then the heading back is all the transit information real time heading back out of the island. So we have the tram, we have the ferry, and we have the F train real time GPS. So this is where we're at now. And I wanted to kind of show you all what it would look like for after the alpha release in this new the version 1. We're getting to version 2, which is already in development, which is going to add some key features.
Well, that's terrific. I think it's going to be very beneficial for both visitors and for people on the island to use.
Absolutely. And so the resident experience is going to be a little bit different. We're actually going to create an app where you can create a profile and then you can have things personalized and really sign up through the app with different services. So some of the things to call out here. So the same thing, but this is the next version that we're working on, which is probably end of September, beginning of October, is sort of alerts. So all the REAC alerts that you get, it will be all centralized here and events as well. So if you click on this, you'll have a drop down of all the events and alerts in one. We also have a universal search. So if you want to come in here and say, show me all the coffee shops or show me all the grocery stores, or, you can actually do much more immersive searching. And then one of the things I want to point out here, and by the way, this is the GPS icon, you'll see here down here, this is the bus overlay. So you'll have a real kind of Uber-like bus moving around the island. So not only the Q102, but you also have any kind of red buses on the island as well. And this is where, Bryant, I know you were kind of working on your transit app, but whenever you get a chance, the next few weeks, if we can start talking about having access to those red bus APIs, so we can start building and testing that on our platform as well.
When you say you have the icon up there for events and locations, so let's say, for example, someone's coming to the island. Let's say they're visiting friends and they're going to Roosevelt Island Day. Will they be able to see the location of the event if they're having trouble remembering where they're going or get turned around?
Sorry, I'm getting a weird. I don't know if it was just me. Anyway, I'm going to disregard what I just saw. But sorry, James, can you say that again?
Yeah. The events bell up at the top right corner.
Yeah. Yep.
If someone's coming to the island to visit with friends or family and they're going to go to, let's say, Roosevelt Island Day,
Yep.
then we'll be able to find it there and the location on the actual real map.
Yes, that's right.
Great.
So one of the things that we haven't done is, how you search for events, but that's also going to be highlighted as well on the map as well. And or you can come here and see what's going on. And we're going to have a separate event section as well. So one of the things we're starting with is what we call scraping. So there's a lot of organizations that have their own events. So Brandon, as you mentioned, right, you have your own library events. It's on a site somewhere, right? We're going to centralize that. We're going to scrape all the sites and centralize that. So you'll be able to see all the public library events here as well, in addition to other events. So yeah, that's the idea. And then also REAC alerts as well. We want to make sure that the visitors and residents are aware of what's going on in terms of safety and so on as well from REAC.
It's terrific. That should be very helpful.
Yeah.
Terrific. Thank you.
Sure.
Does anyone have any questions? Okay, great. Great presentation. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
I do have one community update that I did have to add before the end of the meeting. I'm looking at my date here. On Saturday, September 28th at 2:30 p.m. Near Island House and the chapel, we will be honoring Israel Wengard from the farmers market for 35 years of service. With Amanda Brown from the PTA at 217, Paul and I are setting up a surprise. So that means we don't want him to know about it before, but if you're around, it would be great if you show up. We're hoping to get some kids from the school to design something that we can present. There'll be a cake, and there'll be an opportunity for people to express their gratitude for all of these years of service to our community from the farmers market. So I'm sure you'll hear more about that. Okay, do we have any new business? And I think we have no old or new business. So, yes, Judy?
Okay, one thing I want to mention, which our population is completely ignored, Kohler Long-Term Care Facility, which is a 500-bed nursing home at the north end of the island, which just received a 5-star CMS rating. All the city-operated nursing homes have now received 5-star ratings. So if you know anyone that needs to go to a nursing home or short-term, long-term rehabilitation, please have them be referred to Kohler. I run the auxiliary there. I'm on the community board along with a lot of our neighbors. It is an excellent facility. And for people just to forget that it exists or heard some bad stories from 20 years ago or whenever, it's ridiculous. Kohler is convenient. It's very well maintained. It's an excellent facility. And it's about time that the people of Roosevelt Island started taking advantage of this. So whenever you hear of something, you can ask me, you can ask Verna Fitzpatrick, who's the director of the community board, to consider Kohler, because if you have a relative and you have to schlep into Manhattan to visit them when Kohler is right up the street, I really suggest that you consider it and tell your friends and family. And that is all I have to say this evening. Thank you.
Great. Thank you very much. So I think that concludes the meeting.
Okay.
I just want to thank you all for your hard work and participation on behalf of our community. And I do mean all of you that participate and work hard to make sure this is a great neighborhood and a great community. And I want to thank you all for that. On that note, thank you very much. Meeting is adjourned.
And if the person who runs the Roosevelt Islander is still around, just encourage you never to use the word Zoom in your social media posts, because that does attract bots that will do things like Zoom bombings. So please, if you're posting about our meetings, don't include the actual word Zoom in your posts.